Spyro 4 is hopefully gonna be in our graces soon. So, here's 5 more things that I'd like to see in the next Spyro installment. Let's talk about it.
Whoa!
What's up guys, Canadian Guy here, and back with a brand new Spyro 4 video. Spyro 4 is hopefully gonna be coming in the future. There is evidence to suggest it, but until then, I started to think about more things that I would love to see. Spyro Reignited was a great example of doing a remake justice, fleshing out what was there most of the time and making it great for modern consoles. While Crash Bandicoot N. Sane Trilogy was a textbook remake, Spyro Reignited Trilogy went a bit further and made it a lot more stylized. However, when Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time came out, it did a lot of things different from Crash Bandicoot N. Sane. They added things to the franchise that have never been seen before, while also keeping classic features that the franchise is famous for. So, using the same idea of blueprints of building Crash Bandicoot 4, I want to talk about 5 more things that I love to see in Spyro 4. Number 1. A difficulty selection. Did you know that Spyro Reignited originally had a difficulty selection? After Spyro Reignited came out for PC, data miners found remnants of a system set up for there to be varying difficulties for Spyro. In the original Spyro 3, there is a difficulty variance that kicks in depending on how well you're doing. It checks how many times you've died or if you've been 100%ing the game. If you were not doing well, the game would get easier as you went on. If you were completely and utterly acing the game, it would get harder. This is why Spike, arguably the hardest boss in the original trilogy, was so difficult for those who were crushing the game. But in Spyro 3 Reignited, this system was not implemented at all and the game seems to be defaulted to the easiest mode possible. This is why Spike and all the other bosses in Spyro 3 Reignited are basically a joke. While I do think that maybe the original difficulty selection may have enabled the Spike of our childhood nightmares, I overall really love the idea of a difficulty selection for the Spyro franchise. Depending if you want limited or unlimited lives, I think choosing how hard Spyro can be would be a great way to approach this difficulty curve, so that people of all ages can either glide right through the game and enjoy themselves and look at all the pretty colors, or face a little bit of a harder challenge. The difficulty modifier could make it so that there's only one critter on each level for Sparks to get its health back. Perhaps enemies would need to take more than just one hit to die, or maybe there's even more enemies than normal. There is a whole number of things that could be done to make Spyro a bit harder. But let's not make it as hard as Crash Bandicoot 4. That's a bit excessive, especially for Spyro standards. Number 2. New ways to platform. While Crash 4 stayed true to its roots, it did add some new platforming elements, like wall running and rail grinding to name a few, but these elements were never something that were 100% original. Other games have done these elements for a long time, but nonetheless, games should take ideas from others and include it in their own games if it improves the game overall. So who cares if we all know that the rail grinding is literally from Sonic the Hedgehog? So, what mechanics could Spyro include from other games perhaps that would make the games better? Well, first off, I think a mechanic from Breath of the Wild would do great. I think the rising hot air to raise Spyro while he is gliding is a great idea. Not like the sparkle tornadoes that Spyro can hop into, but imagine making a long distance glide by pre-planning beforehand that you're going to need some extra lift. Spyro turns a few things on fire, climbs to a spot that he needs to, and spots that may have been unreachable can now be reached by using the heat to create a draft and get lift. Another cool idea would be if Spyro could dash or dive in mid-air, to make traversing that much more fun and get a little bit more out of your glide. To make some jumps more death-defying, Spyro should also be able to land on an edge and catch himself with his paws. Thus, the game devs can make certain jumps that makes the player think that they're not going to make it, and at the very last second, Spyro grabs the lip of the edge. It would also help if you just slipped up and were off when you did a normal distance glide. Grabbing the edge would just make those stupid moments make the player feel, well, less stupid. Number 3. Dragons and more. Okay, so yes, in my previous video of 5 things I like to see in Spyro 4, I had already mentioned dragons, and I still stand by that, but let me give a little bit more color and details on it. I think that there should be more than just dragons as collectibles. I think something that would give more color to each of the worlds would be that after you save the dragons of that said world, 1 or 2 of them would fly to a different part of the map. When you return to that part, they would have a mini game that rewards you with yet another collectible. Let's call the collectible, I don't know, dragon crystals. So, for example, if you save a farmer dragon, after the level is complete, you get access to a mini game that has you helping the farmer with either his animals or crops. When you complete it, it would get you a dragon crystal. Dragon crystals can be used for unlocking skins, bonus missions, and of course, contributing to 100%ing the game. They would be the side mission of collectibles, so to speak. I think that this would be a good way for dragons to be more involved in the worlds that they are trapped in, but I also think that other NPCs should be in the world that also interact with the dragon, something that's a combination of Spyro 1 and Spyro 2. Number 4. New challenge levels. The flight levels have been around since Spyro 1. They are fun and very simple. Destroy all the objectives in a certain amount of time to win. But I think it's about time, I didn't mean to make that a Crash 4 pun, to explore other options when it comes to these types of levels. There are so many different ways a challenge level can be done for Spyro. Maybe there's a different kind of challenge in each homeworld. Maybe the very first one is your typical flight level. Then maybe the second one is a supercharged level. Maybe even a last man standing situation where there's an onslaught of enemies and you have to defeat them all. The point is, I think just having flight level challenges is a little old school and that it can be really turned up a notch or two. Number 5. Familiar faces. I think Spyro 4 could be a great opportunity to really connect all the games of Spyro's past. Spyro 3 had a feature that a lot of people really enjoyed: multiple playable characters. This brought a break to the Spyro gameplay and explored more aspects of different and unique characters. Even Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time expanded on this with Tawna, Cortex, and even Dingodile levels. But here is an idea. What if we could use this feature as a way to bring in more people to try the franchise and honor the past that Spyro had? Imagine one of the playable characters literally being possibly a Skylander, like Eruptor or Gilgrunt, allowing old Spyro fans to perhaps dip their toes into the Skylanders games while also enticing old Skylander games to feel nostalgic. Then we can even push some funny dialogue between Spyro and the Skylander, them asking if they had met before and that Spyro seemed familiar. On top of that, we could even go one step further. We could literally have Crash Bandicoot as an alternative character. Now, hear me out here. Instead of gameplay like Crash Bandicoot 4 or even Insane, where it's a lot more linear, maybe we could do a callback to the Thumpin' Wumpin' Islands or even Twin Sanity, with a couple of open world levels. Maybe Cortex can even show up and whatever forces they have to deal with can cause them to have to work together, again being a throwback to Twin Sanity. And like before, more funny quips and comments can be made between Crash and Cortex. Overall, I think it would be a fun way to market all games, all franchises that both Crash and Spyro have been a part of. I think it would be a lot of fun, and I think it'd be super awesome. And those are 5 more suggestions for Spyro 4. Which one did you like? And is there a feature that I didn't mention that you would love to see? Comment below and let me know. Thank you so much to all those who not only support the channel, but myself and my family. Because of your contributions, I'm able to do this full time. If you'd like to support the channel, please consider clicking the join button or becoming a Patreon with the link in the description. I also live stream every Thursday and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come on by and say hi. Again, thank you to everyone, and I'll see you guys in the next video and or live stream.